Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Rainbow, and I'm here to talk to you today about 2.08, which is contributions to chemistry. There's no PowerPoint. Well, there is like one slide of the PowerPoint, but this is basically about, I'm going to talk to you about the assignment. So 2.08 is about contributions to chemistry. And so this is going a little bit deeper into the history of the atomic theory. So what we've learned so far is we've learned the basics, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little bit more to learn about some of the basic chemistry founders. And then you're going to go further and you're going to create a research paper on some of the more current um, chemistry pioneers. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to show you, so this whole thing is about the atomic theory. And if you remember in the last section, I talked about how there are these electrostatic forces and how in a nucleus you have all these protons that Rutherford discovered were really, really tightly held together. And if you think about that, we talked about how all those protons, which should be repelling each other, are all smushed together into a nucleus. And I said that when you mess with that, it makes things go boom. This is the thing that goes boom. So this is going to be about the atomic theory and how from all that we came up with nuclear bombs. Boom. Isn't that awesome? I mean, it's not awesome. I mean, it just destroys a lot of things, but I mean, it's fascinating. 1945. Okay. So small atoms can create a large amount of energy because of that strong nuclear attraction in the strong nuclear force in the nucleus holding all those protons and neutrons together. So the first thing that this lesson talks about is that you go through and these are the chemistry founders. So if you look at the chemistry founders, you can see that they have them organized in their contributions, innovations, and future studies. What did it lead to? Okay, so these are the guys who basically founded a lot of our theories of chemistry. Look, and there's Madame Curie, yay, and all Rutherford. We know Rutherford and Bohr, woohoo! We already know them. Okay, so these are the basics. And then what you're going to be doing next is you're going to be taking this a step further, looking at the people beyond them and talking about their contributions, innovations, and future studies. So, in particular, a lot of these people were involved in creating the nuclear bomb and looking at nuclear fission. So that's where we're going with all of this. It's very fascinating information, quite honestly. And like, there's a lot of scandal in all of it, of course. Like, if you really dig in, you'll find there's scandal in it, people, stealing each other's ideas and, not doing things right. And I don't know, and all sorts of crazy stuff that they had to endure, because there was a lot of prejudice out there. So this is the whole basis of it. You're writing an essay, which is very painful for me because a lot of you don't know how to write this. So I'm going to go through and talk to you about how to write this. So hopefully they will be more enjoyable. Okay. So you're writing a research paper. You're either going to write an essay or you're going to write make a presentation. Either way, you have to do research. And it's going to be about one of these scientists. They're all really cool. I mean, they all have really interesting stories. They're very colorful stories. They're really cool stories. So any of these people would be really fun to look up. Maybe I'm biased. Now, what are you going to write about these people? You're going to research 3 basic things. And so you can have 3 paragraphs or 3 slides. You might need more than 3 slides, quite honestly, for the information if you use the PowerPoint. The first thing is describing your scientist's contributions and innovations to his or her field. When you do this, okay, if you just write it down, but you have no idea what it means, you're not going to get credit for it. And so a key thing here, and I just want to say this before I go into it, is that there is this thing here called the grading rubric. Okay? And this rubric tells you the amount of points. So you can see research question 1, to get 6 points. The contributions and innovations provided in the essay are accurate and detailed. Complete sentences are used to explain and support ideas clearly. What a lot of students do for this section is they find what they do, but it's very clear they have no idea what it means, what they discovered. They just copy and paste things from the text, which will cause problems for you. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so you want to understand what did they contribute? What was their discovery? The second question is, how did your scientist's research and data influence future use of his or her findings? So in this one, demonstrates an accurate understanding of how empirical evidence can influence future innovations. Writing a book, they've all written books. Let's just clear that out of the way. Every single one of them has written a book. That does not have to do with future innovations. Future innovations means somebody read the book and came up with something else as a result of it. That's future innovations. So if you say they wrote a book, great. You're not going to get credit for it because you're not telling me how the empirical evidence can influence future innovations. What do we do now as a result of it, or what started as a result of what they discovered, which there's a lot. The third research question says, describe the background, interests, or goals that affected your science observations and conclusions. So this is talking about their influence in their personal life and, you know, what happened to them while they were doing this that influenced what they did. So this can be about, you know, where they went to school. Did they, you know, did they have family members who were involved in science or not? You know, one story is about like the guy like had no interest in science whatsoever and then did science fair and like fell in love with it. And everybody was like, wow, you're really smart, do it. And then they're like, oh, and they like discovered like something really super cool. So it's those sorts of things. It's also obstacles. A lot of these people faced racism and gender discrimination and, you know, all sorts of poverty, all sorts of things involved in it, and people stealing their ideas. So like all of that is involved in talking about this. It's basically what's the juice behind it that got them going. And then if you see that it says research and references. So this is the part nobody gets. And the first thing is that you have to have at least 3 resources. Okay? And these 3 resources, there it is right there, 3 resources referenced within the project. And what that means is that they have to have in-text citations. And then if you notice it says an accurate bibliography or works cited page. You have to cite all of your work at the end of the paper, okay? And if you notice it says very accurate information written in students' words. So if it's not, you're going to get an AI issue, first of all. But it's telling you here, you have to write this in your own words. You have to paraphrase, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this research and reference, and just very briefly. So there are a ton of resources out there that you can use. I found out that even Microsoft Word will do like works cited pages for you if you just, I duplicated it. I didn't want to do that, but that's okay. That's not what I wanted. Can I change that? Oh, well, I'm just going to go with it. Oh, I'm on here. No, I don't want this. Stop share. Okay, let's try that again. Let's end that. I want to go here. Share. Okay. No, darn it. That's what I'll do. My bad, dogs. Give me a second. Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay. Yay, that's better. So, I have a preference. I've always done all of my stuff in MLA. So there's 2 ways you can cite your work, either MLA or APA. Okay. In science, for me, like growing in college, I have always been asked to do MLA. I think I was asked to do APA once in one English class, but for the most part, I've done MLA. So I would prefer if you did an MLA, but if you're an APA fan, fine. If you have no freaking clue what I'm talking about, do MLA, okay? So here is an example of a works cited page. If you notice, it's not just links. It can't just be website links. You have to provide information. You have to provide the author, the title, okay? And then you can provide the link. And so there's a whole format that you use. And what you have to do is you have to go and find it. So there's many resources out there. And honestly, you could look up EasyBib and things like that and find out how to do it. But there's like Purdue OWL. There's all sorts of places that will show you how to organize it. So you need to organize all your resources, alphabetize, if you notice, by their author, and everything has an author. All the things that you're doing will have an author, okay? Because you're looking at reliable sources. You're not just looking at little blog posts from some random person. You should be finding like reliable sources that you could start with on Wikipedia, but then you have to go and actually find the real sources. So these are the sources, and they have all the information about the source and then the link, okay? And then in your paper or in your presentation, if you're using information from the source, you have to do in-text citation. And if you notice, it relates to the work cited. So this source here came from Burkhart and Morris, page 410. So that's that source. Okay, this one says Crown. Notice no page number because it's an article. You know, it's from the website, so there's no page number on it. Now, you have to use, so if you use information, whatever you do, if you quote it, especially if you quote it, but if you are using sources, you've got to include that. You should have in-text citation in your paper or presentation, okay? And you want to be very, very careful to not copy everything word per word. It will flag and you get an AI, and then you have to, start again. So try to make sure that you are doing this thing called paraphrasing. And even if you're paraphrasing, you have to make sure that you cite your paraphrasing. Do the in-text citation. So this right here, he's using like a bit of a 2/3 of the Iberian Peninsula. So that's probably like the information he got out of it, right? So he's citing where he got that information from. So if you're saying, this scientist graduated from Harvard University and went on to study, nuclear physics at, MIT, that's information from a source that you got. So afterwards you would cite it. You just wouldn't write it word per word from the source. You would put in your own words. I hope that makes sense. So this is the big thing that I see everybody not do well on, is they don't cite their sources. Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. And then the last thing, you're so fickle. You're so vain. You probably think this video's about you. It is actually, it's about you. Okay, so we're going down. All right, and let's get back to the grading rubric. All right, so we've done all of these, research and references at 6 points. That's a big 6 points right there. And then essay and project presentation, 6 points. So you do get 6 points for how your project is presented. Is it neat and organized? Can I follow along? Is it creative and appropriate for the audience? Is it formatted well? Are you using correct grammar and capitalize the beginning of your sentences, and like it makes sense, and it's not just like, shoving words in to make it look like you're not plagiarizing when you are, or copying other people's work when you are. You want to make sure that you are making it flow and making it read nicely. If you have any questions on this, or if you are afraid that you might be plagiarizing and you don't even know what plagiarizing means, and you don't know if you're doing the right thing or not, or if you haven't written very many papers in your life, just reach out to me and I will, look at it and I'll go over it with you. So just be aware that I'm here to help you with that. So this can be a very pleasurable experience for you. Maybe take it, even though I'm sure science is not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's like, hey, I get to read and research, and let me dig up some dirt on these scientists here and see what I can find, and make something a little creative with it. And that's that. So that is what you'll be doing in this assignment. And like I said, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about it, or if you just, need to go over something with me. I'd be more than happy to help you. All right. I hope that helped. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.